We're diving into the heart of AI.
Sounds exciting.
It is, especially with this research paper we're unpacking today. It's all about these massive language models that everyone's talking about. You know, the ones that can write like Shakespeare 1 minute and then generate code the next.
Oh, yeah. LLMs, they're definitely shaking things up.
For sure, the potential is huge. But there's always a catch,
Right.
Like having this super brain that needs a whole power plant just to keep the lights on. And that's exactly what this paper dives into. It's all about making these AI behemoths more practical, for everyday use.
Exactly. They focus on GPT-3 175D as a prime example. And when you're talking 175 billion parameters, well, that sheer scale creates some serious challenges, especially when you want to customize them for specific tasks.
Okay, so walk me through this. Let's say I want this GPT-powered AI to help me write some marketing copy, but also, maybe translate documents, maybe even whip up some music in its spare time.
Sure.
What's the problem there?
So the problem is, traditionally, you'd need to fine-tune a separate copy of that massive model for each of those tasks. So you'd end up with a copy for writing, a copy for translation, a copy for music, and so on. It quickly becomes a logistical and computational nightmare.
Ah, I see. So it'd be like having to carry around a separate dictionary for every language you wanted to speak. Exactly practical.
A great way to put it. And even if you could manage all those separate models, just the process of switching between them would be so slow and resource intensive.
So this is where our star of the show comes in, right? This LoRA approach. Please tell me it's something more elegant than just buying a bigger hard drive.
Oh, it's definitely more elegant than that. LoRA stands for low-rank adaptation. And it's based on a really clever insight. It turns out that when you're adapting one of these huge models for a new task, you don't actually need to retrain the whole thing. The vast majority of the model's knowledge is already there, just waiting to be tapped into.
Okay, so instead of overhauling the entire model, LoRA just tweaks it.
That's the gist, yeah.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So instead of retraining billions of parameters, LoRA injects these small, low-rank matrices into the model's existing layers.
Low-rank matrices. For those of us who aren't, AI researchers, what does that mean?
Okay, think of it this way. Imagine you've got a gourmet chef who's spent years perfecting this really complex recipe. Now, let's say you want to just tweak that recipe just slightly, maybe add a hint of spice, adjust the sweetness, something small. You wouldn't ask the chef to just scrap the entire recipe and start over, would you?
Definitely not. I mean, why reinvent the wheel, right?
Exactly. And that's essentially what LoRA does. It's like adding those subtle spices to an already incredible dish. You're enhancing the flavor without changing the fundamental recipe itself.
Okay, now that's an analogy I can get behind. But let's talk about the practical impact for a second. How much lighter does this actually make these models? Give me the numbers. Are we talking a significant difference or just like a drop in the bucket?
We're talking about making these models up to 10,000 times lighter. Yeah, LoRA can reduce the number of trainable parameters by several orders of magnitude. That translates to significantly faster training, drastically smaller storage requirements, a whole new level of efficiency.
10,000 times lighter. So that's not just like swapping out a dictionary for a phrase book. That's like having the entire Library of Congress suddenly fit on your e-reader. Amazing.
It's a game changer. It opens up possibilities for running these powerful AI models on devices we never thought possible, like smartphones, laptops.
So we're talking about taking AI from these massive data centers and putting it directly into the hands of users.
Exactly.
That's huge. But I have to ask, does this efficiency come at a cost? Does LoRA compromise performance to achieve this leaner, meaner AI?
That's the best part. Not only does LoRA make these models more manageable, but it also doesn't sacrifice performance. In fact, the research shows that LoRA consistently matches, and in some cases even outperforms, the results of full fine-tuning across a variety of tasks.
Hold on, so we're getting faster, more efficient AI. That's just as good, if not better, than the resource-intensive methods we've been using. That sounds almost too good to be true.
It's pretty remarkable.
What's the catch?
There's no catch. That's the beauty of LoRA. It's a real breakthrough in AI development. It has the potential to revolutionize how we interact with and benefit from this technology.
Okay, now I'm really curious to dive into how this actually works. What's going on under the hood that makes LoRA so effective?
Let's unpack that. One of the most fascinating things about this research is what it reveals about the nature of learning in these massive models. It turns out that the changes needed to adapt them for specific tasks are surprisingly minimal. It's like they already possess this innate understanding of language and information.
Intriguing. So It's not about teaching them from scratch. It's more about guiding them to unlock what they already know.
Precisely, and that's where things get really interesting.
So are we saying that these models, like as complex and massive as they already have this fundamental grasp of language, like they learned more than we even realized during that initial training?
That's one of the most compelling aspects of this research. It challenges our assumptions about how these models learn, you know? It's not just about memorizing patterns, it's about developing a deeper, more nuanced understanding of information.
Okay, so if LoRA isn't teaching them new things from scratch, what's actually happening? How does it bring out this hidden potential?
Okay, think of it this way. Imagine you have this massive library, right? Filled with books on every subject imaginable. Now, let's say you want to become an expert in, let's say, astrophysics. You wouldn't read every single book in the library, cover to cover.
No way.
Right.
You'd want to head straight for the astrophysics section, zero in on the key texts, maybe even just like highlight the most relevant passages.
Exactly. And that's essentially what LoRA is doing. Instead of retraining on this massive data set, it's making these subtle adjustments to the model's existing parameters. It's like it's highlighting the most relevant connections, amplifying certain pathways, fine-tuning the model's focus for that specific task.
So instead of a complete rewiring, it's more like, what, fine-tuning, like adjusting the dials on a really powerful telescope to kind of bring those distant galaxies into sharper focus.
That's a great analogy. And what's fascinating is that these minimal adjustments, these low-rank updates, are all it takes to unlock these incredible performance gains.
That really makes you think about the inner workings of these models, doesn't it? If these small tweaks can have such a big impact, what does that tell us about the way they're actually representing knowledge, internally?
It's a bit like reverse engineering intelligence, isn't it? By observing how these models respond to LoRA, we're gaining insights into the underlying structure of information and how it can be manipulated, how it can be accessed efficiently.
It's like we're not just building smarter machines here. We're uncovering these fundamental truths about the nature of learning and intelligence itself. It's like LoRA is giving us this glimpse behind the curtain of AI. And what we're seeing is pretty remarkable.
It's a paradigm shift in AI research. It's not just about making bigger models. It's about understanding how to make them learn more effectively, adapt to new situations, and ultimately unlock their full potential.
This all sounds incredibly promising from a research perspective, but let's bring it back down to earth for a moment. How is this going to impact, the average person? What will LoRA actually change in the real world?
That's the exciting part. The potential applications are vast. We're talking about a future where powerful AI is no longer limited to these research labs and tech giants. LoRA could make it possible for anyone with a smartphone or a laptop to access and utilize these sophisticated AI tools.
Okay, now you got my attention. Give me some concrete examples. What kind of AI tools are we talking about, and how would they impact our daily lives?
Imagine having a personal AI assistant that can not only schedule your appointments and manage your emails, but can also help you write more effectively, learn new languages, even compose music, all tailored to your individual style and preferences.
That sounds like something straight out of science fiction. But it's actually within reach now, thanks to LoRA.
Exactly. The efficiency and scalability of LoRA means we could see an explosion of personalized AI applications in fields like education, healthcare, entertainment, you name it. And these won't just be these passive tools, they'll be active collaborators, constantly learning and adapting to our needs.
So it's not just about making our lives easier. It's about augmenting our own abilities, right? Pushing the boundaries of what we're capable of achieving.
Precisely. It's about creating a world where AI empowers us to be more creative, more productive, more connected than ever before, and LoRA is paving the way for that future.
It's an incredibly exciting time to be alive, that's for sure. This whole conversation has me thinking, if LoRA can unlock so much potential from these massive models, what else might be possible? What other breakthroughs are waiting to be discovered in the world of AI?
That's the beauty of research, isn't it? Every discovery opens up these new avenues for exploration, new questions to ponder.
And speaking of pondering, I think we've reached the part of the show where we leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question to ponder themselves, something to spark their curiosity and keep the conversation going.
I love it. What do you have in mind?
So we've talked about how LoRA makes these massive AI models more practical, more efficient. But it almost feels like we stumbled onto something even bigger here, right? This whole idea that these models possess this hidden depth of understanding. It makes you wonder, what else have we overlooked in this quest to build bigger and better AI?
It really is a humbling thought. We've been so focused on expanding the scale of these models, adding more data, more processing power. But what if the key to unlocking, true AI, what if it lies in understanding the intricacies of how they learn, how they represent knowledge?
Right. It's like we've been trying to build a super brain
Hmm.
without fully understanding the elegance and efficiency of, like, the human brain.
And that's what makes LoRA so compelling. It's not just a technical innovation, it's a philosophical one.
What?
It suggests a shift in perspective, a move away from brute force computation towards a more nuanced understanding of intelligence itself.
It's like we're at this crossroads in AI research, where bigger isn't necessarily better. Maybe the real breakthroughs will come from exploring these subtler approaches, these elegant solutions that kind of mimic the efficiency of natural systems.
I think you're onto something. LoRA could be just the tip of the iceberg here. Imagine the possibilities. If we can truly crack the code of how these models learn, we could see a wave of AI applications that are not just powerful and also incredibly efficient, adaptable.
Like we're entering a new era of AI, one that's defined not by the size of the models, but by the depth of our understanding.
Precisely. And with that deeper understanding comes a whole new world of possibilities. Imagine a future where AI is seamlessly integrated into our lives, not as this separate entity, but as an extension of our own cognitive abilities.
A future where AI helps us learn faster, solve complex problems, unleash our creative potential in ways we never thought possible.
Exactly.
It's inspiring, really.
It is. And to think, this all started with a deep dive into a research paper about making AI models more practical.
It just goes to show the most groundbreaking discoveries often emerge from the most unexpected places.
It's the thrill of exploration, the pursuit of knowledge that keeps us going.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of LoRA and the future of AI. We hope you've enjoyed this journey as much as we have.
And we encourage you to keep asking questions, keep exploring, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Until next time, stay curious.